Now we playing games now?
That was a little loud.
Oh, yeah. You thought that. I can't.
What is going on, everybody? We're back with another hour of Backstreet Sports. It's the original crew. Max, T,
Doggone right.
Tanner, Chris.
Yep.
Fellas, how we doing today?
Oh, man, I'm good. I ain't got no complaints,
It's going
man.
well. We got a lot to get to today, including the Phillies struggles.
Ah, jeez.
The Sixers, Raptors are set, which we all kind of expected when the season started. And then the NFL draft.
Yes.
So let's get right into it first. The Philadelphia Phillies coming off, they're still in a part of that road trip right now. Oh, no! 4 out in Colorado, we lose 3 out of 4. And then now we're in a tough situation now with the Mets, losing our first 2 to the series.
I take full responsibility for that Rocky series. I sat here last week and said, we can take a chunk out of them. They're 4-12. And, I take full responsibility for that.
Yeah, they took a chunk out of us.
Yeah.
It's all your fault, Chris.
I know. You're welcome, Charlie Blackman.
So first reactions here for you guys. I wanted to ask you guys specifically, what's the problem? Do you think it's injuries? Do you think it's just early season struggles? What do you guys think that's, causing us to play this poorly and early in the season?
Honestly, I hope it's just early season troubles. I really do, because that's concerning. What was it? 7-9-0?
Yeah, last night, 9-0.
That was.
Yep.
Yeah, that was. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Zach Eflin, 4 innings, 4 runs. It just feels like we can't. I don't know, especially not last night's game, 2 nights ago. People were talking about jet lag. The 2-hour delay was part of it.
Man, I don't want to hear that foolishness. That's an excuse at this point.
Listen, this team is too good to be losing these type of games.
I agree.
The offense is struggling.
Now,
Really
sorry, Max.
Yeah, Chris.
You may say that's an excuse, but I feel like there might be something to that because there was that whole Carlos Santana story about guys.
The Fortnite in the locker room?
The Fortnite in the locker room, smashing the TV. And, we got Jake Arrieta coming out with these comments about guys not being focused, guys not being ready during that rain delay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think I feel like, especially with all the young guys on this team, I feel like there could be something to that. Now, I don't know how much that affects their play on the field, but that is definitely something that will cause tension in a locker room, especially between older veterans and younger guys. But I know I get what you're saying about that being an excuse because they're getting paid millions of dollars to hit a ball and catch it, and
right.
I'm just saying, it's just. But okay, on the Arrieta point, I heard what he said about Bryce Harper, in terms of him needing to keep his cool because the lineup needs him, and everybody I've heard a lot of people giving him flack for that. I totally agree with Arrieta.
Yeah.
Bryce Harper, you are needed in this lineup, and it's clearly obvious.
Definitely, 100%.
So you going out there and you losing your head, and now you getting suspended. It's not productive towards the team.
Tanner, you agree with the Jake Arrieta comments? Are you thinking Bryce was right in this situation?
Well, I agree with the comments, but I also like the way how Bryce handled it. It was very professional.
Afterwards in the locker room?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm still thinking that our injuries are hurting us right now. I think Gene Segura being out really hurts, especially at the top of the lineup. Herrera, another starter in the center field. I mean, I didn't really think, to be honest with you, I didn't think that it would matter that much when Herrera went down because I thought, maybe Roman Quinn could step in there because he came off the injured list. And obviously, I've never been a huge fan of Aaron Altherr, but obviously he's still on the team for a reason. Gabe Kapler believes in him. So I figured we still have our main guys, Harper, Realmuto, and Hoskins. I thought that they would be able to keep us afloat. But I mean, David Robertson gets hurt. Kingery, who was on fire for us, gets hurt. I just think that from right now in the beginning of the season, the injuries that we have are causing us to lose these games. I think when we get healthy, I know people are panicking right now because we're losing these games,
right.
But I think when we get healthy, I think we'll get back up to the top of the division. I think we're still up there. We're up there with the Mets now. I know we're in a slide right now, but I think at the end of the season, when it's all said and done, I think we're going to be in a good shape.
But to me, the real big problem is the pitching. And right now, as far as our pitching staff, we are fully healthy. It's not getting any better than this. They just called up Drew Anderson. And he got lit up for 5 runs?
Last night.
Jeez, I mean, they're definitely trying to look for solutions within the organization. It's looking more like you got to go outside. You got to bring someone in because they can't keep going with this rotation. I mean, Nola's got to figure it out. He's got to.
Definitely.
I know it's still early in the season, but when Vince Velasquez and Jake Arrieta are your best pitcher, I mean, Arrieta's still great. But that's still. I mean, Velasquez has been great, but other than that.
Listen, our
It has
pitching's
not
been inconsistent,
it has not
but
been good.
not in the way that we thought when we came into the
No,
season. We thought
not at
Nola
all.
last year his numbers were historic. We're not saying he's going to do that every year, but we thought he'd be a lot better than what he's pitched to this year. And having Velasquez coming into the season, we were thinking like, man, he could be our weak link, and Eflin could be our weak link. Eflin had a couple of great starts at the beginning of the season. Velasquez has had a lot of great starts. I think almost every start he's had has been productive. So if Nola figures it out and Arrieta continues to, because Arrieta pitched well the other night. I know he got the loss. I know he got the loss, but he pitched well.
Yeah, he did.
And I feel like if Nola can get right, I think that we'll get back on track with our starting pitching. Our bullpen's still a question mark though, obviously.
I hate to play revisionist history, and I hate to say I told you so, but I said straight when we signed Bryce Harper that this pitching was going to be a problem, and now it's coming to fruition. And if you don't do something about it now, you're probably going to finish only a couple games above 500, and that's not a far stretch to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
So we were playing so well in the beginning of the season when we were healthy that I figured, you know what, if we have a couple bad starts from our starters, the way we were scoring so many runs, I figured it wouldn't have mattered. But now that we're a little banged up and our pitching is still, no one's really, especially Nola, hasn't improved as the season's gone on so far. I think we're in a little bit of trouble. And the other night specifically that I want to ask you guys, the whole we talked about the Harper and the area situation, but then last night Rhys Hoskins, at the end of the game, we're losing 9-0. He almost gets hit in the head twice. I mean, what are you doing? Do you retaliate with that, or you're just
That's
like,
been
you know
happening a lot this year.
It is.
The first series with the Braves, it happened 3 times. There was another occasion then last night.
Yeah.
Does he have a big mouth on him and we just don't know it? Or is this just are these just freak accidents?
I don't know.
They're
Every
not
time
freak accidents.
Exactly. Every time we listen to him speak, he seems like one of the
They're
nicest guys.
they're
so.
not freak accidents. What I think is happening is I think that teams are starting to recognize that the Phillies are a dangerous team, so they're trying to do little things to, kind of edge them on.
Back him off the plate.
Correct. Because they're all aggressive. Everybody throughout that lineup is aggressive at that plate, and if you throw one wrong ball, that ball is leaving the park.
Ball's out.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do anything psychologically to mess that person up.
Right.
Now, Rhys Hoskins not retaliating? Oh, that was a good move. Especially considering the fact that you have so many players on the injured list and then Bryce Harper just getting suspended.
Right.
You need Rhys Hoskins.
You don't want to.
Rhys Hoskins in the
We
lineup.
can't afford it.
Yeah, definitely can't afford
Can't
it.
afford.
He
to
kept a
lose
good
another
head on him
Especially
for not retaliating.
we're down 9-0. You don't want to get him suspended or fined in any kind of way. So
No.
And Rhys Hoskins is better than me because I would have definitely retaliated. You're not going to throw up 2 balls at my head
yeah.
and expect me to not react. I'm sorry.
Do we have patience with the Phils right now with these injuries? Or are you thinking in the long run we're still going to need an arm or two? Do you want to go out and get it now, or do you want to wait longer, closer towards the deadline?
Let's go get Zach Wheeler. He can strike out guys and hit home runs. Why not? Yeah. I mean, Keuchel's still out. They're like, gee, come on. You're still unemployed. Just sign.
I feel like we're just saying the same names, and I guess no one wants to go out and get them yet.
I'm saying that because we don't have to give up anything.
Yeah,
I'm going to look to that before I'm giving up, anybody in this lineup or any big name prospect.
Right.
So
I still, with the injuries we have right now, I still think even if we go out and get a starter or a reliever, there's rumors going around we'll go out and get Madison Bumgarner and another one of the relievers. I think Will Smith from the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, I seen that report.
Which would help our pitching and our rotation in one trade, but we would have to give up a lot for that. I don't know if I'm willing to do that.
did those Mike Minor rumors die out?
I think they have. I haven't heard anything else.
Yeah, there was some last week, but that really went away because the Mets were also interested in him as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So
And Mike Minor's been hurt almost his entire career. He hasn't had one productive season in almost 5 or 6 years back when he was with the Braves. So I don't want to. To give the Rangers credit, you obviously are going to ask for a high price for Mike Minor the way he's pitching. So I don't know if you want to trust a guy like that. But at this point, I just want to stay put. I think I want to try to have some patience with it because, like I said again, with the injuries that we have, I think are really affecting us. And when they get healthy, the runs we were scoring at the beginning of the season, when we had that lineup, Franco in the 8-hole, Herrera's back, and Segura in the 2-hole, I just feel like the run production we put up, I want to see that consistently for a couple months stretch, and then we'll see where we're at. Like if the pitching struggles, if we have inconsistency in the bullpen, then we'll address that at the deadline. But for right now, this division's so close that I don't want to, I know we're just talking about you don't want to give up big pieces from the farm system, things like that. But I don't want to, make a move that is going to hurt us in the future, or even go out and sign Keuchel or Kimbrel for that huge contract. I don't know if I don't want to make an unwise decision.
Go ahead.
No, well, I'm very stingy. I'm a very stingy person when it comes to prospects. I know it's a habit I should break, but because not every prospect is going to be a star. But we got a ton of outfielders in the minors. I mean, Dylan Cozens. There's
he's
Mickey Moniak.
Mickey Moniak's very good
and,
too.
I can't even remember all of them, but if getting rid of one of those guys and a roster player gets me Madison Bumgarner, I might look to do that.
I would definitely consider it. I mean, Madison Bumgarner, especially postseason, he's got insane postseason numbers.
Takes it up to another gear,
which would definitely help us. And then even to get Will Smith, who's a lefty in the San Francisco bullpen, would help us drastically, in my opinion. I think he's underrated. I think if we can stay patient and kind of just weather the storm here, because again, if you look at the other teams, look at the Braves, look at the Mets, they're not really. I mean, I know DeGrom's banged up a little bit, but they're not dealing with any drastic injuries as far as the numbers that we have. I mean, we got like 3 or 4 legit guys on a hurt, and it's not just at one position. It's not just hitters. It's not we got bullpen problems. Our rotation's been inconsistent. We've had guys sent down like Pivetta, and our hitters are banged up on the bench, both on the bench and in the starting lineup. We're talking about Kingery, who comes off the bench, and then Herrera and Segura. So I just want to weather the storm here. And hopefully within the next couple months, when we look back on this at the record in the wins and losses column, we'll be right at the top of the division.
Man, you took the words right out of my mouth, because that's basically what I was going to say. It's not the time to hit the panic button just yet. You kind of just want to, play everything out and see how everything goes, make sure everybody's healthy again, and then you can start, trying to make changes, trying to make trades, trying to make moves. Now, we all agree that they do need to make a move, especially in terms of pitching.
Yeah.
But for right now, with these injuries, I think they need to just weather the storm right now. It's still early in the season. It's a 182-game season.
Yeah, we're only like 20 games in. I don't want to do anything drastic. Danny, you got something?
For me personally, I think us waiting, we're kind of losing our chance to get an arm, because right now we're losing arms like Nick Pivetta, you said.
Yeah.
They sent him down, and actually he hasn't even been impressing in AAA, so they're going to send him down to the AA.
Wow.
They are sending him to AA?
They're sending him.
So
wow.
It's not confirmed, but I mean, they're talking about a guy who was pitching in the MLB now getting sent down to AA. So
that's crazy. I didn't know that. That's absolutely crazy. I always thought that Pivetta, with his arm, he can throw close to 100 miles an hour. If he was in the bullpen, I think it would help him a lot. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I think we put Pivetta in the bullpen, even as like a long man, like a 3-inning guy, because I feel like he comes out and he does throw a lot of strikes, but when they hit it, and it goes over the fence, which has been his problem his whole career. So. I think what he has to do, because I like his arm, and I've never been a huge fan, but he's got the stuff. I feel like definitely has the arm, and if he can just work out his mechanics and kind of get some movement on his pitches, I think he can come back up and kind of be, even in spring training. We heard like people saying that he could be like number 2 in the rotation over Arrieta. I heard that because he has such a live arm and he had a good spring training. I heard people saying, man, he could be even better than Arrieta this year. So I hope he figures it out, and I hope he can get back into the rotation or even the bullpen at the major league level.
I agree.
I'm right there with Tanner too, because looking at the standings, you got the Mets at the top, 13-10, Phils 12-11. Atlanta and Washington both 11-11. Mm-hmm. We're at a crossroads where a team can potentially pull forward, because every single team in their last 10 has either been 5-5 or 4-6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is still early, but if you make a move now instead of waiting until June, right before those dog days, a team could potentially pull away from all these teams, because it is so close. It's
really
the most competitive division in the league, in my opinion. So if you can get something now that, even if it is just a bullpen piece, because that's we could definitely use that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It would make me feel a lot better.
Adam Morgan's been great out of the bullpen for us this year, and Hector Neris, besides that one start on opening day, he's been okay for us. I just think we need another lefty out of the bullpen besides Adam Morgan. I think we're just relying on him too much.
That's why we got Jose Alvarez now, but
he hasn't been that great.
He hasn't been awesome. Is he banged up too?
I don't know if he's banged up, but
I feel like I haven't seen him in a while.
Regardless, he hasn't been pitching well when he's in there. So through the ups and downs we're having right now, I just want to stay together. Like the whole thing with Arrieta and Harper the other night, I hope that the locker room there's a lot of personalities in there. I just hope they don't clash. I just want to hope we all have a common goal here, and that's to win. You know what I mean? So I just hope they don't stray away from that.
You know what? I don't think that's going to hurt the locker room. I think that's only going to help the locker room. You want somebody like that in the locker room, like Jake Arrieta, to check you. You know, if you do something wrong.
Veteran player.
Right. You want that in the locker room. You don't want to just have just a bunch of young players and nobody's really teaching or learning from anybody. You know, you just have a bunch of young guys who's talented and they don't check each other. They're always having fun. They're always clowning around. There's a time to clown around. There's a time to be serious. And right now, with, you know, the Phillies and, you know, this little cold streak that they've gone on, this ain't the time to be playing around no more. This ain't the time to be playing Fortnite and all that. This is the time to get serious. We got to start hitting practice a little harder.
Yeah. Tanner, I wanted to ask you, we got the Marlins coming up. Now, that's a team everybody looks at it as like they're almost must-win games. Do you look at these games as like, do you think the players are thinking, man, these are must-win games, we need to win these? Or do you say maybe they're just looking at it one game at a time at this point? Because, like you said, I don't want to have us going like, these are must-win games, you know, because that kind of gets in your head as a psyche, and like then you could slip up and you lose one. Plus, I think it's at home. So, do you look at this as must-win, or do you think we just take it one game at a time?
As much as you want to think that you wouldn't think that it's a must-win, or that's an easy win, I'm sure all the players are thinking that, and they know that this team's the Marlins. They're not a good team, and they definitely need to win. But as far as getting in their head, I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that would be a problem. It's more like compared to every sport, like if the Patriots are playing the Raiders.
Yeah.
They know it's an easy win, but they still stay on track.
Yeah, to me, you look at this stuff at the end of the season. You look at this stuff at the end of the season, you're gonna look back on it. Man, look at that Marlins series all the way back in April, which is kind of how when we lose a close game like that, like the Rockies game the other night, when we lose, like that's a loss. You know what I mean? When we're in August and we look back on the season, it's like we should have won that game. So I just hope they focus on each and every game, and not to take games off, because obviously you guys are getting paid an insane amount of money. But I just hope we just focus, take it one game at a time. You know, don't let this rough stretch we're going through, affect us in the future. And hopefully we can just, stay together and hopefully get some wins under our belt.
Right. To add on, it's like at the end of the season, a win's a win. But then you look back and you see you beat the Marlins. You're happy about that, but did you really beat the Marlins? You had to go in extra innings to do so.
Right.
So in that way, does that win really matter as much as the other wins?
Right. I understand what you're saying. I just think that these, especially because they're division games, the Marlins are a team that, even watching that series when we played in Miami, I thought they were a lot better than what they were talked about, especially from the TV guys and all on MLB Network. They were all talking about how, the Marlins obviously, and we all thought the same thing, that they weren't going to be this good. I thought that they impressed me to a point where obviously they're not going to compete for a division title, but they're not, one of the worst or the worst team in baseball. So.
And that's why in professional sports, I don't care what sport it is, you never, ever doubt your opponent.
Never.
I don't care how bad you think that team is going to be. You really don't know how that team is really going to turn out.
We played well at home this year. I just hope coming back home after this road trip, this 7-game roadie that we're going to finish up in New York, come back home. Got an easy team in the Marlins. I hope we just regather ourselves, refocus, and get a series win, because we're the last couple games, just been brutal. We're watching the Sixers games now. We're not. I'm checking the score. I'm like 9-0. Like, that's not how I was used to when especially last week. Look how much has changed in a week.
Yes.
We went to the game. We're all like, we're playing really well.
Yep.
Exciting. We left. We had that day game where we won 3-2, and then now coming off this road trip, it's like, wow.
Well, this journey is not going to be easy, because at the end of this, we will have played 17 straight games.
Mm.
So it's not easy, especially on the arms and the bullpen, especially.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, let's transfer into some Sixers talk now.
Woo!
They got a big win the other night against the Nets. I was watching 30-8 at one point.
Oh, yeah! That's what I'm talking about.
It was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch. And again, I just like the fact that we come back home for Game 5, didn't let the series, didn't let even the game in general kind of go back and forth. We kind of just came out. We really banged them up. 30 points, 30-8 at one point. We really came in. We put our foot down, and we really showed the Nets like, well, listen, we're ending the series. We don't want to go back to Brooklyn.
It's funny because last night as I'm watching the Sixers game, and I was also, getting my scouting report together, looking at the NFL prospects, it got to a point where I was just straight up started watching college film, because I'm like, okay, the Nets ain't playing tonight. Okay, this is an easy one. Easy dub. All right, let's move on.
The thing that's so great about that game yesterday is that we got to rest our starters.
Definitely, and we finished the series pretty early too. I know the
Right.
Raptors did as well.
The
but
Raptors have as much rest as we do, but we at least got to rest the starters at the end of that game.
we didn't want to have that game go back, especially all the stuff that's going on with Dudley. I was thinking maybe, hopefully that doesn't affect
he's a
how we're
non-factor.
playing, but.
See,
it was
you can't,
great.
but you can't take stock in the non-factors. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, Jared Dudley started mouthing off. I can understand if somebody like Spencer Dinwiddie or D'Angelo Russell started talking trash about Ben Simmons. This is Jared Dudley.
You can't waste your time on someone like Jared Dudley.
No.
And he was just doing it to get in our heads. I mean, he didn't want to. You don't want any.
You don't want no parts of this.
Exactly.
You don't want no parts of
This
this.
is the only time we're going to hear about Jared Dudley. So
Exactly.
He'll be a non-factor, especially next year.
As a matter of fact, we might be the only ones bringing his name up right about now. So we're the only ones giving him any kind of credit.
give him airtime.
That's all I'm saying.
Let's look ahead.
Second round.
The second round. Toronto. There you go,
Dude,
Chris.
Toronto?
Looking at the future. Toronto Raptors.
Oh boy.
Look, I don't feel good about it, bro. Look,
Why not?
dude, they swept us in the regular season. I mean,
4 games, right?
yeah.
4-0 in the regular season.
Look, I mean, now I would like to think this is a different team compared to then. Now, I'm not sure. I just don't feel that good about this.
You're not
series.
confident, right?
No,
You're
not
not
at
confident.
all.
Oh, I understand that.
Not at all.
I really do think the best player in this series is Kawhi Leonard.
No doubt.
I
It is.
hope you all agree with me with that.
No
I
doubt.
think if we find a way to, obviously you're not going to hold him to 0 points or anything
No.
ridiculous, but if you can hold him to an average around like maybe 25, 30 at the most, maybe. If we can just hold him intact and not let him go off for one of those 40, 50 piece type of games, I just think Kyle Lowry's past his prime at this point. They do have, obviously, they're a great team. They got some role players
Yeah.
there. Pascal Siakam, Marcus Hall
Yes.
could give Joel Embiid some problems.
I think that's probably the only big man that'll probably give Embiid some issues down in there.
And
in the
Al
paint.
Horford too. If we were to face him, in the future, they got
I
the
don't know
Bucks.
why.
That's going to be another tough
He's
series.
only 6'10". Why does Al Horford always give us problems?
He's just
I never
physical with
understood
them.
that.
I don't know.
If I could go into the games that we went against the Raptors. In October, we lost 112 to 129. December, 102 to 113. And then later that month, 101 to 126. And then in February, 107 to 119. So,
Yeah. Listen, they spanked us.
Yeah.
All 4 of those games, man.
Yep.
All 4 of those games. And we took it, but now it's a different story. I feel like, especially watching those last couple games, Ben Simmons has turned up his intensity. He looks like a whole different player.
He's
just
I don't know
enforcing
if-
his will.
I don't know if he listens to the show or not. And he's gotten irritated with some of my comments, but good.
He's slamming his dunks.
It's like-
man, he's slamming it down like he's bringing a hammer on
Yes.
everybody.
Like, this is what I wanted to see out of him.
This is
I wanted
fun-
to
it's
see
fun to
the
watch.
dog in him.
and the
Go ahead.
Raptors haven't seen us with Tobias and Boban and everyone. So, because last time we went against them, we still had Moose and Shamit.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's a good point.
Listen, we did play the Raptors earlier in the season. I think the one question mark I have, because honestly, Chris, I am pretty confident in the series. I think watching the way we played in that Brooklyn series the last couple games, I really think our confidence is high. And the way Ben Simmons is playing right now specifically, I think we got a legit shot to win this series. The only question mark I have is the home court advantage. I feel like this game is not going to be the series. Excuse me, the series is not going to be over quickly, in my opinion. I think it's going 6 and 7.
Yeah, I
and if
agree.
it gets to that 7th game in Toronto, that's going to be a question mark.
I was
agree.
about to say that. It's going 7, and it's going to be right down to the end.
But on a positive note, Drake might be at the game, so he
maybe.
might ruin the mojo
Yeah,
for
let's
the
hope he's wearing their
Raptors.
jerseys. So give him some bad luck.
As the series as a whole, do you think what do you think the games are going at? Do you think we get a split in Toronto? The first 2 are in Toronto. Do you think we get a split? Do you think they beat us 2-0? Do you think we possibly could win 2-0? What do you guys think?
I think it's going to be a split.
You think it's going to be a split?
I think it's going to be a split, and what's critical is going to be those games 5 and 6, because here's my thing, here's my take. The only way I see them winning, I won't say they have to shut down Kawhi Leonard. You're not going to shut down Kawhi Leonard, but you need to at least contain him. And the only way you're going to contain him is you have to put the best player on him, the best defensive player on him. And for us, that's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Now, if Kawhi's going to guard Jimmy, we've won games without Butler's points production. So it's possible that we can really win this series.
Yes, definitely.
But we have to come out with the same intensity as we came out against Brooklyn.
Right.
We cannot take nights off.
No, I
None
agree.
of that. Everybody has to be on their A game. Everybody has to bring the alacrity. Everybody has to bring the aggressiveness. Because otherwise, they're going to bring it right back to you, and they're going to whip you.
Listen, this isn't the Nets. This isn't the Pistons. This isn't, you know what I mean? This is the Toronto Raptors.
This ain't
They've
Orlando.
owned us. They've owned us, and I agree with everything you just said. We need to bring the intensity if we want to beat this team, because this is it, right? This is the second round here. We're not playing games anymore. This isn't the Nets. We're not in the first round.
Nope.
We want to win an NBA championship. This is why we built this team, to win an NBA championship. I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be a fun series to watch. I did want to get into the Celtics-Bucks real fast. I think that series is going to be really entertaining. I think that series is going
Who
7
do you
games.
guys think wins that game? Wins the series?
I say Milwaukee, man.
Milwaukee in 7, you think?
I say Milwaukee in 6 or 7.
I'll probably go with Boston.
I just think it was destined for the Celtics and the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know why. Since the season started, I just think it was destined for the
But
Sixers. Celtics.
Giannis is playing on a whole
Yeah,
nother world right about now.
He's playing incredible. I think he deserves MVP.
Yes, if he don't get MVP, I kid you not, I'm going to rumble somebody. Like, I'm going to fight somebody. Because how do you not argue about him not being MVP?
Yeah.
The development, the skill level. Name a player right now who can stop him.
Nobody. See, he takes off from the foul line, and no one can stop him because he's so lengthy that he just kind of, you know how LeBron, when he's coming down the lane, he kind of just bulldozes you over and puts it up. Giannis literally is so lengthy that he can just kind of put his arm around you and just hit it off the. I was watching him the other night against the Pistons when he did that. I was like, how you can't guard that?
No,
like, I don't
you
care.
can't.
I don't care who you are. You can be
can't.
LeBron or the best player. You cannot guard that. It's almost impossible.
And that Euro step?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
Oh my
that's
goodness.
It's going to be fun. These playoffs, I think now that the lower seeds are out of it, and these two matchups in the East, the Bucks and the Celtics, and us and the Raptors, I think it's going to be two great series to watch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh man, who saw Damian Lillard's shot?
I was going to go to bed last night, and I was like, you know what? This game's so close. It was late in the fourth quarter, and it's like I had to step and watch. I
was still watching game film, and oh my goodness, he hit that shot. And I stood there with my mouth wide open. I said, you know what? I said, that's it. I shut everything down, the lights, the computer, everything went off. I said, that's it. I'm going to sleep. That's it. I'm done.
Listen, he got the shot clock was at 3 seconds, and he was at the half court. He was at half court, and I was like, what is?
Wanted to be the hero.
Is he about to pull this from like 40 feet away? And he did it all right in Paul George's mitt, by the way.
That's some NBA 2K green release stuff that he just hit.
That was a crazy shot. And again, the whole back and forth with Russell Westbrook. Listen, I'm not the biggest Russell Westbrook fan. I think he's a great player and he's super talented. But I just think the way he plays, he's not going to ever win a ring. And again, I don't understand. For my question to you guys would be, why do you think Paul George? I know the money was great, obviously, for him, but he could have gotten money somewhere else. Why do you think he re-signed with the Thunder?
Oh man,
Because honestly, we saw it last year where I was surprised that he resigned. I thought he was going to go to LA and join LeBron. But
I agree. Like, I think somehow, some way, Russell Westbrook somehow, some way must have said something to him. Be like, listen, we're going to do this as a team. We're going to do it. The team's going to build around us.
Right.
Da. Like, that's the only thing I see. Because while, yes, I have said on these airways that I consider Russell Westbrook, me personally, I'm a fan of his.
Right.
That's slowly deteriorating now because I'm not liking his current attitude at this point.
Right.
But Westbrook must have said something to George to kind of, let him know, like, look, we gonna build, we gonna build something special. We gonna keep building. Come on back. Come on. You love the city. This is a small market team,
Right.
but this team has your back through and through. But from Paul George's perspective, how does that help me?
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I got endorsements with Nike and. I have, my own custom shoes. So from an endorsement standpoint of view, I wouldn't care about being in a small market.
Right.
But playing with Russell Westbrook, knowing his play style,
I didn't understand.
I'm scratching. I'm kind of scratching my head here.
I was surprised that they were the 6th seed too, because I look at that team. They have some talent. They developed Jeremy Grant a lot because he was a former Sixer. And he wasn't that great when he was here. We got rid of him, and they developed him a lot. Steven Adams is a center down there.
Yep.
They got some talent in that team. Even Nerlens Noel coming off the bench for them.
Yes, Noel is that defensive presence.
I was shocked.
Yep.
I think they're a
That
better
second
team than
line.
the Jazz. And Russ he was hitting some jumpers last night, and he was looking really great. And I was thinking, you know what, this series is going to go back to Oklahoma City. But with the Raptors, and this is without Joseph Nurkic, by the way, who broke his leg back a couple months ago. But you better watch out. Portland is a very good team, especially with the backcourt they have. Damian Lillard, and CJ McCollum.
I agree. Like, I started really paying attention to Portland, like maybe in the middle of the season, And I started saying to myself, I said, they're a sneaky team.
Yeah.
I think they're going to surprise some people. People are going to overlook Portland.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
You cannot. No.
Definitely.
Not with those two. And like you said, Jokic ain't even playing.
Right.
That's the crazy part.
Definitely.
It's just C.J. McCollum and Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
Duh.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you, the Blazers. That's
out.
a dark horse in the
Look
West.
out.
If anybody's going to supplant the Warriors in the West, which
Right.
I don't think personally it'll happen, but if there is a team that will, it's going to be the Blazers.
Definitely. Tanner, Chris, I want to ask you guys this question and the Sixers know real fast. When you're looking at the coaching from Brett Brown's perspective for this series coming up against the Raptors, you definitely know the Raptors, how great they are and how great their team is, how well they played, the talent they have. What are the matchups you guys looking at? Who are we putting on who? What kind of offense are we running? The difference between the Nets talent, the Toronto Raptors talents, obviously there's a big difference there. How are you guys matching up the players?
I say, I'm still sticking with, putting Jimmy Butler on Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
I'm still sticking with that.
Would you ever maybe, even if he starts getting hot, do you double him maybe? Because you're looking at the guys on the perimeter. Danny Green, he's an athletic wing. He's a 3-and-D kind of guy.
Right.
Kind of like a JJ Redick, only a little bit more athletic, a little bit bigger, and a little bit better of a defender.
Right.
I just think what we have to do in this series is really take advantage of the size difference with Ben Simmons and Kyle Lowry. Because honestly, I don't think Kyle Lowry's going to be guarding Simmons. But again, no one's really as athletic and had the size like Simmons does. And beating Gasol is a matchup I'm looking forward to. I'm really hoping Embiid shows up against Gasol.
Y'all know me when it comes to linemen. When I watch football, look at linemen play. When I look at the NBA, I look at big men play. Because seriously, it's something about big dudes, man. They get into it. Seriously,
this is not Jared Allen. This is going to be Marc Gasol, veteran, and he's a very good player.
Oh, you guys are talking about player matchups. I'm talking about Brett Brown and Nick Nurse matchups. Out coaching. That's what it's going to come down to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The offense they run, the matchups we put on, I just think, Kyle Lowry, for them, obviously Kawhi Leonard's their key. If he's going, they go with Kawhi. I think Kyle Lowry, if we kind of shut him down and kind of make him close to a non-factor, because we saw games in the first round where he had like 0 points in game one. So if we can cause him to be like sort of a non-factor almost, and just kind of stick to Kawhi. Gasol, too. Gasol, he's a veteran, and his best days are obviously behind him in Memphis, but, man, he's another guy you got to watch out for because he can shoot the three kind of like Embiid, and he's one of the few guys that have the size that can guard and beat in the post.
Yes. Marc Gasol ain't no pushover.
Listen, they don't need Kawhi to beat us. They've already beaten us without Kawhi.
It's true.
But when he has played against us, he's averaged 30 points.
Yeah. That's crazy. In 4 games, you averaging 30 points a game in 4 games against us. We got to figure out. That's coaching, like you said, with Brett Brown, Nick Nurse.
Yeah,
you got to find a way to.
I never looked at that aspect. That's a very good point.
Yeah, and I think Nick Nurse is a great coach. Yeah, I really do think Nick Nurse is a great coach. So, again, it's gonna be a fun series to watch. I think it's Friday or Saturday, maybe even Sunday.
I think it starts Saturday, if I'm not mistaken.
Game 1 in Toronto. It's fun. Hopefully, we're talking about a couple of Sixers wins next week here.
Oh, yeah.
We got one more topic to get to before we get out of here, and that's the NFL draft. We are
baby.
close to 24 hours.
The future starts tomorrow.
A little over 24 hours away from the NFL draft. Your guys' perspectives. Who are the top prospects? Who do you think the Eagles need to get in the first round? Give me something.
And here's me personally, and I've been on record as saying this. I want an offensive lineman in the draft. I want an offensive lineman in the first round. Listen, you can go for the flashy wide receiver with Marquise Hollywood Brown. Yeah, that's cute. That's fine. Yeah, you are eventually going to need to, find that speedy guy to eventually replace Deshaun Jackson when Deshaun Jackson leaves. And I'm hearing rumors that the Eagles are possibly going to trade Nelson Aguilar. So you're probably going to need a receiver in the draft, but I don't think first round is where you need to draft a receiver. I've even heard them drafting a corner in the first round. That doesn't make any sense to me, seeing as though I think you have a bunch of young, talented corners, and then you bring back Ronald Darby for 1 year. That just doesn't make any sense to me to draft another corner first round high in the draft. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Safety, you can argue with me about safety, but I think you can grab a nice quality safety. I'll get to that a little later in the second or third round. I think you need to go offensive line because the simple fact, as I stated before, if you're going to pay Carson Wentz so much money. Because
$150 million.
if you're going to pay him that much money, you're going to need to protect that investment at all costs. Barrett Brooks probably isn't going to play this year with that because he's still recovering from that Achilles heel. Jason Kelce came out like maybe a week or two ago and listed all the injuries that he played through this year, and he almost considered retiring this offseason. That scares me. You need an interior lineman, and you need to start preparing for the future now.
Peters has 1 year left on that contract.
Now, I think in terms of tackle, you can probably draft a tackle maybe late day 2, day 3. If you want to draft a tackle and develop him.
Right.
I think that's when you want to go tackle.
So you're saying guard in the first round, or
I say guard, center guard in the first round.
Any names that you're looking at?
And me personally, I think the guy that jumps out for me is Christian Lindenberg. I'm saying his name wrong.
Where is he from? What college? Does it say it on there?
I think it's Boston College, if I'm not mistaken. But when I looked at the tape, I love his tape. I like his aggressiveness.
And he's a guard or a center?
He's a guard. He plays center.
Okay.
But they also listed him as guard as well. But I like the way he plays, the aggressiveness that he plays with. He keeps his pad level low.
Right.
He's a grinder. He's everything I want out of a lineman. And, of course, y'all know my big rule when it comes to linemen. I like butts on the ground.
Yeah, aggressiveness.
Yes.
Definitely. Listen, it's not going to be a sexy pick, but...
No, it's not going to be a sexy pick. But sometimes the sexy pick it's not necessarily the sexy picks that makes the draft. It's the picks that go under the radar that really help a team out. And I'm telling you, I'm sorry. His name is Garrett Bradbury from the NC State. I apologize.
NC State, okay.
Garrett Bradbury is who I'm... Okay, Christian Lindstrom is also another guard that I'm also looking at as well. He's from Boston College as well. Those two are in particularly I like.
Right. Good.
As I like Cody Ford.
Tackle from Oklahoma.
Yep, I like Cody Ford, but like I said, I don't think we need to go tackle that early. And then I think he's going to go maybe top 20. And unless we trade up for him.
I've seen a lot of mock drafts where guys are going all over the board. You know, early first round, mid first round, even late.
I'm going to tell you why. Quarterbacks. Quarterbacks are where quarterbacks are going to be drafted in the first round are going to determine how far back some of these top prospects are going to slide. Now, me personally,
I'm interested to see where they go. Dwayne Haskins, Kyler Murray, guys, Drew Lock, guys like that.
Me personally, the only quarterback, if I was a team looking to draft a quarterback, the only quarterback I would honestly think would be worth drafting in the first round is Kyler Murray, regardless of his size.
It's crazy because so many teams need a quarterback this year.
It is.
The Giants, the Patriots need someone.
Yeah, definitely.
The Redskins, the Dolphins.
I'm saying the Redskins might trade up, right?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. Yep. And if they trade up, from what I'm hearing, they're trying to trade up and jump ahead of the Giants to draft Dwayne Haskins. They do that, they're gonna ruin his career.
That all depends on where Kyler goes too. You think they'd rather draft Haskins over?
I think honestly everybody wants Kyler, but are you going to be able to trade up that high to draft Kyler? You still really don't know what the Cardinals are going to do.
Exactly.
I think Kyler Murray's going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Oh,
I know his size,
doubt.
but his talent is on another level. I mean, watching him play at Oklahoma, the speed he has. I mean, Johnny Manziel didn't have that speed. A lot of people are comparing him to Johnny Manziel. He's a lot faster than Johnny Manziel was.
He's a lot more accurate, and he can read the field a little better than Johnny Manziel.
And what works for the Cardinals is Kingsbury had coached him.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little concerned if the Redskins go up there and trade and get Kyler Murray. We got to play against him twice a year. I know they don't have much talent around him yet, but I'd be concerned if I'm.
He's a dual threat.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the only thing that concerns me with him is I did see him, juke around defenders and whatnot, not try to, extend the play. At his size in the NFL, you don't want to do that. You might want to,
He's got quick release, though.
He's got a quick release, yes, but when he gets out of the pocket and he scrambles and he's trying to make a play against a defender, you don't want to do that all the time in the NFL against these defenders, even if it's a corner.
Definitely.
These guys, they're not playing around. They're going to hit you.
You looking at anybody specific in the late round at pick 25 or any position that you think is of interest?
Not late round, but someone that I've really been keeping my eye on is Josh Allen, obviously.
Josh Allen from Kentucky, the defensive end. I've seen him go all over the place. I see him go top 5 at some point.
He's likely to go to the Niners, I think.
Right.
I'm not the biggest fan of Josh Allen.
The edge rusher.
6'4", 263 pounds.
I understand
he had a great
that.
season at Kentucky last year.
He's an excellent speed rusher, and I like that. Me personally, I like speed rushers more than I like power rushers. His first step is explosive. He has excellent hands. The only problem is, for me, if you're going to play on the edge, you need to learn how to set the edge as well, especially in run defense. I feel like he doesn't do that too well. And also, what I've seen from the film is when a lineman gets their hands on him, which is the problem with most speed rushers, when those big linemen get those big mitts on you, they got you. It's like vice grips.
Yeah.
We've seen in college, though, he hasn't been stopped by the double team. He powers right through him.
He does, but then there's times where sometimes it's not even necessary for him to double team him. I've seen games and I've seen plays where it looked like they just completely took him. The tackle would just completely take him out of the play.
Listen, there's some good linemen up at the top of this draft. Quinnen Williams is one of them. I personally think he's the best player in the draft because as a nose tackle, I think he's one of the most dominant college defensive tackles coming out of Alabama.
Quinnen Williams is a monster.
He is a monster. And I think whoever gets him. I know that there's teams out there like they want the quarterback, like the Raiders are one of them up there, the Cardinals. But if you take this guy, it's almost a slam dunk. I mean, you can't go wrong. Look at the size of this guy.
They are getting a dog. I don't know who's going to draft Quinnen Williams, but they getting a dog.
He is very and honestly though, if he fits in there, say at the top of the rounds, I know, like again, John Gruden wants to draft the quarterback. If he gets on in one of those teams where he's got talent around him on that defensive line, almost like how Clemson's defensive line last year when they had three of those guys: Cleveland Ferrell, Dexter Williams, and Christian Wilkins.
Yes.
If he gets talent around, I'll tell you, man, that defensive line, if he gets some guys around him. Now watch out. Nick Bosa is another guy we're looking at.
Nick Bosa is my favorite pass rusher in this draft.
Hasn't played since October, though. You got to remember, he hasn't played. Almost missed a lot of games. He hasn't played since October.
That's true.
That
is very true. But I think his potential was what's going to get him drafted. I think out of all the edge rushers, he's probably going to be drafted first, and it's his potential that's going to get him drafted that high.
Plus his brother, Joey Bosa.
I'm sorry, I meant Josh Allen was likely to go to the Jets, not the 49ers.
The Jets.
Yeah.
Where they pick it?
What was that, the third?
Third or fourth?
Third or fourth pick? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see him going that high.
But, yeah, Nick Bosa Jr. missed a lot of the season.
Yeah. Another guy I like is Ed Oliver.
I like Ed Oliver. I was looking at his tape too. He's got some good tape. That dude. You know what? I like his pass rush moves. I really do. I like his swim move. I think it's clean.
A lot of talent this year in this draft.
Man, defensive tackle I think is really deep in this draft. Defensive tackle in particular.
And we have those two second rounders, which I think is going to be the real key. If we can hit on those one or both of those second round picks that we have late in the second round, there's the potential for us to get 3 starters out of these 3
agree.
picks.
And I'm glad you mentioned those 2 second rounders. And this is kind of the reason why I really don't want the Eagles to move from 25 because I think they can pick up a quality guy in the first round at pick 25. And then with those 2 second rounders, and I was thinking about, some of the positions of need on the team.
You're looking at linebacker, safety as well.
I was looking at, but there's a position that I think we're overlooking, especially with the way we play defense, and that's defensive line, in particularly defensive end. Think about it.
Well, you have Derek Barnett healthy this year. You got to remember.
That's true, and you have an aging Brandon Graham on the other side.
Yes.
Chris Long hasn't even decided yet if he's going to retire or not. Right. And then the other, Vinny Curry, and he only had 2.5 sacks with the Buccaneers last season with his ankle injuries.
I do like the re-signing him, though, because he fit well in this scheme 2 years ago.
That's fine, but is he going to go back to the Vinny Curry that we all know?
We're hoping. That's why we brought it back in. We're hoping. Now, who are you looking at 25, even at those 2 second rounders? Anybody stick out to you from the edge? I like personally Cleveland Ferrell from Clemson, the edge rusher from Clemson. I think he would be really good for us.
He's pretty good. I like 2 guys in particular. I like Jalen Ferguson out of Louisiana Tech, and I love Chase Winovich from Michigan.
Oh, man, Winovich is a really good player.
Man,
that defense last year, you got Devin Bush and Rashawn Gary, both those guys.
That Michigan defensive line was just dominant this past season, and I love Chase Winovich's game. He disengages from blockers so well.
He's a team
uses
leader
his hands.
Team leader.
Like, he doesn't have the most explosive first step, and I think that's the reason why he's going to fall out of the first round.
Yeah.
But his array of pass rush moves, he makes up for that lack of athleticism with his array of moves and his football IQ. And that's something that, me personally, I will covet more than athleticism. Because, sure, you can draft an athlete in the first round, but how's that athlete going to turn out?
And develop.
Is that athlete going to? Sometimes you can draft the athlete, develop the athlete the way you want him to turn out, and then he turns into this all-around dominant player. That's fine and true, but how about drafting a guy who knows what he's doing?
That first round pick has to be a slam dunk, man.
Has shown
has to be.
He's shown that he can play the game. And he might not necessarily be an athlete. He doesn't wow you with his 40-yard dash. He doesn't wow you with, his cone drills and
Right.
whatnot. But his film is what sticks out.
Yeah.
And that's what I wish teams would look at more than look at these 40-yard dashes in these first round
In
picks.
the combine. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Tanner, I would ask you real fast. When you look at teams up top, trades, obviously, they're going to happen. At least one or two, they happen every year. And do you think any team that's kind of late in the back rounds, I know that we've heard about the Redskins. Do you think any team's going to try to get up there, not even to get a quarterback, but to get one of those blue chip 6 or 7 guys that are out there, in my opinion? Do you think anybody in the late first round, any of those teams are going to try to trade up and get one of those blue chip guys?
Honestly,
Like even the Patriots. Look at the Patriots team. They lost Gronk. Do you think they get up there and they're trying to make something happen? Because usually you look at them, they stay put. They just wherever they're at. Belichick doesn't like to mess around.
Right.
I think the Patriots will keep doing what they always do. They always get lucky.
Mm-hmm.
They always find somebody late in the draft,
Which is incredible.
and they're gonna stay doing that. But honestly, I don't think this draft's not really gonna be, to me, that surprising. Like with draft picks, I feel like it's.
Where do you think Kyler Murray goes?
Well, that's a hard one because if the Cardinals do not get Kyler and the Redskins are trading up, I think the Redskins get him.
I just have a
And
weird
that's
feeling
gonna
too.
be-
The Redskins are going to trade up and
That's
get him.
going to be hard for us.
Yeah,
Let
Kyler Murray comes to the NFC East, he's going to be a pain in my rear end for years to come.
Do you think John Gruden drafts a quarterback up there?
Funny thing about the Raiders is they sent all their scouts home early.
So I don't get that.
There was miscommunication. They didn't trust all their scouts, so they just sent them all home early.
Yeah,
So,
I seen that story.
crazy.
They
You don't trust the own people you send out there. That's crazy.
Well, they
Yeah, the
think.
Raiders,
Well, they
man.
think they might. I know sometimes I've heard this from other NFL teams, but they'll send the scouts home because they don't want any information about their board
Right.
being leaked.
Right.
So just to eliminate anybody who could possibly be in the room.
right.
Anybody
Especially
who they don't
division
trust.
rivals too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry.
back to Kyler, though. He's Heisman Trophy winner, Davey O'Brien Award winner, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. If he goes to the Redskins, we're gonna have.
I agree.
trouble.
To answer your question, if there is a team late in the first round that will trade up, it is the Patriots because they got 12 picks in their back pocket.
They have 12
Wow.
picks in this
They
draft?
have 12 picks.
Yeah.
So if there's a team that does make a big move in the first round, I'm thinking it's the Patriots because they got assets to burn, man.
Right.
They got assets to burn.
From an Eagles standpoint, we got 2 second-round picks, right? Would you personally trade any of those 2 picks away, kind of move up earlier in the second round, or do you think would you stay put?
I'm nice and content with where we're at now. I'm good with sticking with 2 second rounders. As far as who I want to pick, I kind of agree with T. I like Garrett Bradbury. Just build up that offensive line. You don't know how much longer you got Kelsey, because even this year he was thinking about retiring. So get a guy behind. I almost said Travis Kelsey. get a guy behind Jason Kelsey. And I mean, as far as I can tell from Bradbury, the only knock on him is the size, which I mean, same thing with Jason Kelsey.
Right.
And I mean, who better to put behind Jason Kelsey?
And like I said, with size, I don't necessarily all the time look at size. I look at game tape. What do you do on the tape? Can you make up for what you lacking physically?
Right.
And if you can do that for me, I'm cool with you. Now, in terms of, I know I said we needed a safety, and I know a lot of
Jonathan Abram from Mississippi
I
State.
knew you were going to say that.
That's the guy I would totally
I like
take.
Jonathan Abram, but I want another guy in particular, and I like this guy when I looked at his tape out of Maryland, Darnell Savage Jr.
Where's he from?
He's from Maryland. I love his tape. When I looked at him, he is excellent in run support. He's a good wrap-up tackler. His coverage skills are above average, especially good for a safety.
Free safety or either or? Strong safety?
He could play either or position because his ability to shed off blockers is what separates him.
Where do they have him going?
They actually have him going like mid-second round, early third.
So those are 2 second rounders right there.
I think and I wouldn't have a problem with them drafting Jonathan Abram. The only knock I have on him is I think sometimes he always goes for the big hit. So a lot of times he misses those tackles.
Right.
That can be coached. So I wouldn't have a problem with Jonathan Abram, but I like Darnell Savage just a little bit more.
Can you get something?
I got two things. You were talking about safety, and I noticed a team that really just needs to add a safety to be Super Bowl contenders is the Chiefs. Because I know they have Eric Berry, but last 34 games he hasn't played 31 of those games.
And they released him.
Yeah, and so safety is what they need.
Listen,
But-
you got Patrick Mahomes around you. You know you can't waste these years. You got to get guys in there.
Where is their draft? Second round? Because they don't have a draft in the first.
They don't have a first round pick.
No, they don't have because breaking news. They traded for
Clark, right?
Frank Clark.
Frank Clark.
So no, they don't have a first round pick anymore. They were I
Good
think
trade
on
for
the
Seattle. They got 2 first round picks now. Look out for Seattle.
man.
They re-signed Russell Wilson. Seahawks, look out.
They need to build around Russell Wilson and fix that offensive line for him.
While we're figuring that out, also the Cardinals have the 33rd pick as well. So if they don't get Kyler, if they know that they're not getting Kyler, do you think them trading that first overall pick to, say, the Redskins, because they want to go up in the draft, and then waiting for the 33rd pick?
I think, listen, what you just said right there, I think is great because you know why? The Cardinals really don't have a lot of talent as a whole. Drafting Kyler Murray is not going to make them.
You're going to need to
you
do a
need
lot
players.
more than just draft.
You need players in this draft. You got to if they trade that first round or first overall pick away and get some picks later on, maybe 2 or 3 picks later on in the draft, or even for next year. I mean, they need guys. They need playmakers on this team, and I think the more picks they have, the more opportunity they have to hit on some of these players.
I agree.
They might wait until draft day, and right before that pick comes up, they trade. It's known to us that they trade their first overall pick.
Right.
And whether it's I think it's most likely going to be the Redskins. But I think that'd be a great idea.
There's still a possibility that more reports come out. You know, we're 24 hours away from the draft.
Yeah,
Other teams come up. You're going to hear a lot.
This is smoke screen time. You know, there's going to be plenty of reports flying and coming out.
Also, the Redskins, so if they trade the first overall pick to the Redskins and the Redskins give them the 15th, that's even so. If they're not getting Kyler, wait till the 15th pick, and then they have the 33rd pick.
My whole thing is, like, I understand why they would want Kyler Murray, but you have Josh Rosen. No, he didn't play a good season last year, but Peyton Manning, if I remember correctly, didn't have a good rookie season either. Right. And look at the career he had.
Tanner, you thought Josh Rosen was going to be the best quarterback in that draft coming out last year.
Really?
I did, I'll admit. Yes.
Really?
I thought Baker was going to be overrated.
No. I knew Baker
I thought Josh
out.
Allen was going to be the best quarterback coming out last year,
Wow.
just based on his size. I really did.
So that's why you can't necessarily look at intangibles like that.
Yeah.
Never go off intangibles. Always trust your eyes.
It was just Rosen's attitude and everything. I thought he was going to be much better than he is.
Listen, people are smart with this draft coming up. If say there's no trades, I think somebody that's either in the middle, around like 7th or 8th, even the Giants, if somebody like Kyler falls in their lap, because it's still a possibility.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, honestly, if it gets to be like pick 5 and Kyler's still on the board, somebody might jump up there and trade. But if he gets to like 7 or 8 and like the Giants are sitting there, I can totally see that.
And I'm going to say something right now over these airwaves because me personally, I like Dwayne Haskins. Do I think he's coming out of college early? Yes. I think he could have benefited from
Another season?
Yes. Because his inconsistent play disturbs me. There are times when he looks like a professional quarterback. He looks like the top quarterback in the draft. And then there's times where he will make a throw and I would be like, what the heck was he looking at? Like it was such a crazy dynamic. And I understand, him coming out, your draft stock probably isn't going to be as high. I disagree. Quarterbacks are always going to be, drafted high. I don't care what year it is. Teams are always in need for a quarterback.
Right.
But here's my thing. I think he's either going to go, me personally, if the Cardinals pick Kyler Murray 1, he's either going to go to the Redskins or the Giants. And his careers are either going to go 2 ways.
Right.
If he goes to the Giants, Dwayne Haskins is probably going to be a problem for us because he's going to have the ability to sit behind Eli. I don't think they're going to start him immediately. I think they're going to let him develop behind Eli and let Eli play out the rest of his career, almost like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers style. However, he goes to the Redskins. The Redskins are going to start him day 1. They're going to do the same thing with him like they did with RG3. They're going to ruin his career because they're going to start him immediately, and he's not ready. The concepts, the defensive concepts from college to the NFL is totally different. defenses in college, they're almost telling you what they're doing. And with the spread offense helps you to pick apart a defense. It's not that easy in the NFL.
No, definitely. That's what makes Tom Brady so great.
Athletes are bigger, stronger, smarter. Mm-hmm. Just because you see a cover 2 don't mean they're going to come out in the cover 2. You see a cover 2, that safety going to come up last minute right as the center is snapping you the ball and come in on a corner blitz and hit you.
Definitely.
And you didn't see it coming.
Back to your Dwayne Haskins point, I think Urban Meyer leaving Ohio State had a role, or had an effect, I should say, on Dwayne Haskins leaving. I think, like you said, I think if he stayed another year, I think he'd be more NFL ready if he came out.
I agree.
But he's coming out now, and I think if he goes to the Giants, I think he needs somebody. And again, if I'm a Giants fan, which obviously none of us are, but if I'm a Giants fan and say the Giants get Dwayne Haskins, do you really want to sit behind another season of Eli and kind of grooming Haskins behind him? Because as a Giants for the Giants fans out there, you've seen 2 years of Eli Manning where you know he can't play anymore.
Right.
That's
you
true.
would want Haskins in there, but I just don't think he's ready. He's set all kinds of records at Ohio State with touchdown passes and things like that, their yards. But I saw games where I was scratching my head against Purdue where they lost by like 30 points. You remember that? Saturday night at Purdue?
That was one of the games I rewatched last night of his tape.
And that was just a beatdown. Purdue really killed him. And another game later on in the season at Maryland, some of the passes he made were just head scratchers. He throwing them in like double coverage over the middle, and they were just getting picked off.
Darnell was really messing with him that game.
Let me tell you, because the past 2 years, they haven't had anyone to put in when Eli wasn't playing good.
They still don't at the same time.
If they have Dwayne, then I think he'll get a couple chances to go in there and play in a game. Especially if the team stays the way they are right now.
What do you think about the less talked about quarterbacks? You know, the Daniel Jones from Duke, the Drew Lock from Missouri. Do you think these guys could develop in any kind of legit starter?
I think they can, but the same thing with Dwayne Haskins. They need to sit behind somebody and develop, because if you throw these guys out there, you're going to ruin their careers and you're going to mess them up. Because I really don't think they're ready.
I think I've watched a couple of their games this year. Drew Lock, especially from Missouri. I think a team's going to get like lucky with them falling a little bit. I think it's going to kind of fly under the radar. If he falls in the right lap with a quarterback like Pittsburgh with Big Ben ahead of him for the next couple of years, kind of groom him, and I think in the next couple of years, one of those guys, they have the size. They're both 6'5", 6'4". Those guys could develop definitely into definitely in the starting quarterbacks in the future.
Real quick before we get out of here, running backs in particular, I have two running backs come to mind. I like Devin Singletary from Florida Atlantic, 5'7", 210-pound frame. He really reminds me of Frank Gore. He's 5'7", and he's popping linebackers. I mean, putting them on their behinds.
What do you think about Josh Jacobs from Alabama? A lot of reports.
I like
about
Josh
him.
Jacobs. The only thing that concerns me is the running back rotation that they had at Alabama, but I think he's an excellent prospect. That pick probably wouldn't disturb me as much at 1.
What about Montgomery from Iowa State? You read up on him at all?
Yeah, I did. I did. I like him.
He's
I like
a between the tackles runner.
He's a between the tackles runner, and he would be good. And another guy, and I'm going to say this, Elijah Holyfield.
From Georgia.
Elijah Holyfield is going to surprise a team. No, he did not have the best combine. No, he does not have the best 40 time. But if you turn on the tape of Elijah Holyfield, he was running people over. He was dominant at the point of attack. He kept his legs moving, and that's what you want out of a running back, especially a big bruiser like Elijah Holyfield.
Yes, sir. All right, people. Good show today. We're going to find out tomorrow who the Eagles going to take. Pick number 25. What are they going to do? Where's Kyler going to go?
Please
who's
go guard.
Who's going to be number 1 overall pick? Hollywood Brown, the possibility.
Don't draft him.
Let's bring him in.
We'll talk who we drafted. Hopefully some Phillies wins and a couple of Sixers playoff wins too next week. Backstreet Sports.
Peace out.
All right, y'all.